So any questions, comments, reports?
I found myself really overthinking it this week,
Yeah.
which is difficult to get out of.
It can be.
No, I mean, I thought there were certain aspects, certain things in last class that I think kind of, yeah, kicked me into that. So there were some good aha moments about, okay, here's, yeah, just a deeper understanding of twisting. Um, but then I also kind of went deeper, just trying to, yeah. How do you even explain it? Right. Envision it, feel it, do kind of all of that anyway. And I just kind of began to drive myself a little crazy, trying to do it. And then I realized what I was doing. But you have to kind of back up a little, give yourself a little break, then go back to it. So yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Was it better then when you went back to it?
Yes. Yes, it was. And I was thankful for class today, that I think that might help kind of readjust me a little bit. But I mean, I haven't lost the aha moments. I just felt that, yeah, I was getting a little obsessed with them.
Gentlemen?
Are you obsessed?
Yeah, I think mixed success after watching the videos and practicing. I find I can connect with the fascia when I'm doing just basic exercises, but when I try and bring that into any of the postures, it's difficult because I feel like I can't get a lot of twisting with the fascia, but the movement itself requires more rotation than I can kind of connect with. So trying to practice in the postures, I feel like you start by connecting with the fascia with the twisting, but then at some point you lose it and you're just kind of rotating your arm, which is interesting, I guess, because if I just think of twisting with the energy before we were trying to connect with the fascia, I could have more of a consistent sense of the twisting throughout the whole movement, or the whole range of movement, I guess I should say. So I think it's just growing that connection, but definitely a challenge.
It is a challenge, and I think you're right. I think it sounds to me like you're simply having growing pains, as it were. That with practice and focus, that you'll make that connection.
Okay.
Anything for you, Bill?
Dribs and drabs of progress with the twisting. Sometimes it seems to be there. Sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't, if I'm honest. I think I was working more on letting go of my hands and trying to focus on the scapula, moving things. So
good.
I think for me, listening to Adam, this kind of dawned on me. I think for me, yeah, I tried to not just, do the exercises that we did in class last week, but to really bring it in to God's. And I found in a few places, 4 kind of struck me as this, that there was this better understanding and connection around why we're moving, particularly when we're coming down in 4, why the hands are moving as they are, kind of making that connection with the twisting, where I think I disconnected them to some degree, or not connected them, and disconnected them, haven't gotten them that point.
Good.
So I think that, but again, then I'd kind of go off the, then I and I'd overthink it. But yeah, so it is, you're right, it's a, it's not normally the way it's a bit of a challenge, but but when you make progress, you're like, yay,
Yeah.
okay.
Right. Also, I think one of the things that certainly I found was that I was trying to twist too much, or I was trying too hard,
Yeah.
and I would connect to the fascia, and then I would disconnect because I went beyond I went beyond the twisting of the fascia. I was pushing it, and so I think to some extent you have to be aware of the subtlety of that connection,
Yeah.
the subtlety of everything we do, and not overdo it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of goes along with overthinking, I suppose, but
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, anything else for anyone? So, first, just kind of a reminder that it's not the same thing to be doing exercises or doing the movements of gods just by stretching your muscles. First of all, stretching the muscles can be done in mindful or a mindless way. And there are 3 or 4 different ways in which you could teach people how to do hatha yoga postures, for instance. The ones where you just get your body to go to a point is kind of like the lowest level. And then there are the more sophisticated ones when you get to the high mountains of the Himalayas. But still, you have to understand what you're trying to do when you're stretching. So here, what we're focusing on is not stretching. We're focusing on lengthening. So that is having the nerves inside the body release the tissue so that they naturally relax and extend. Not that you push them, not to push the fibers of the body to stretch. So what we're after is the chi circulation and not gymnastic postures. We worked on feeling and releasing the fascia of the arms because that is what your intent is going to try and get your chi to travel along. And you want to have the fascia twisting and changing direction at the appropriate points, which is about having your chi reach the crown of your head and also your feet. As you do this more and more, you want to get to make the transitions seamless. You want it to have no sense of stopping and starting. It's continuous because chi continuously circulates in your body. And what you're trying to do with all your movements is mimic the way that chi naturally moves. Chi doesn't go to a certain point and stop, hang out, and start again. What we're doing is making what the body does naturally, mimicking what the body does naturally and do it in a specific way so we can increase the functioning of what the body is designed to do naturally. So this is really just kind of a reminder that bending and stretching feeds into lengthening. It doesn't mean that there isn't that primary level of bending and stretching, but not to fall into allowing stretching to just be a muscular movement, particularly now that we're moving into the fascia. So lengthening is also an important element here. So we want to consider how to get your chi to go through your body as a whole. Right now, let's leave the channels out of it. Let's talk about your body as a whole. You want to have a very clear sense that every time you do a movement, your energy goes from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and from the bottom of your feet through your body to the top of your head. So let's stand up for a moment. I really didn't go away. So this exercise is very simple. And I want you to think about just making a very simple arm movement. Not very big. Just keep it really quite small. And we're going to focus just really from the diaphragm down to your feet. We're not going to at the moment think about the upper body and the arms. And I want you, without other movement, to extend your mind through your body and begin to get your mind to move the energy from your diaphragm down through your quad and your legs and through your feet into the earth. And then come up through the feet, ankles, shins, knees, quad, and up to your diaphragm. And then down. You can move at whatever pace feels good to you. You could align your breath, if that helps, or not. It's up to you. But I want you to begin to try to just feel the movement of the energy going all the way from the bottom of your feet up to your diaphragm and then down again to your feet. Just keep working on that for a minute. The qua and that transition from the legs to the torso is often a place where people develop a break, a block. So does it come through there and at least get up to your diaphragm? Just looking for a clear, strong flow between the diaphragm and your feet. And if you can, into the etheric body below your feet, but at least down through your feet. it doesn't go through, you have to get it to go through. You have to make it go through. That's the goal. Maybe you have to dissolve it. Maybe you need to breathe through it. But you're the only one that could go through a blockage. All right, so pause and relax. Tell me what you felt in there.
I feel the
Go ahead.
energy going from the diaphragm down through the feet. There definitely were sticking points, but it felt like the energy moved through the sticking points. It was just kind of slow and sluggish compared to the other areas where it seemed to move freely and quickly.
Right?
I feel like I could slowly let go of those areas and make the energy move a little freer there, but it never matched the areas where it was moving freely.
So clearly areas that you need to work on.
Yeah.
Good. Joanne?
I felt it quite strongly in my legs. I think my challenge was that if we'd been bringing it to the quad back down, I think I would have had an easier time, but somehow kind of getting it up to the diaphragm was really my challenge. That was where my sticking points were. And I really felt that for the most part, I did not have sticking points in the legs, which is good because oftentimes I have them around the knees or the ankles, but I didn't this time.
Well, that's good. Yeah, getting it from the legs up through the torso is often an issue.
Yeah.
It's both going up and going down.
Yes.
Yep. Bill?
I felt the energy moving fairly easily in the legs, like Joanne. Actually, I got up into the dantian area, and from there to the diaphragm just didn't seem to to happen. So, that space. Otherwise, I get caught at the beginning thinking, okay, the energy's going down, the energy's coming up. And then when I stop doing that and just let the energy do what it wants to do, I feel it more strongly rather than trying to track it down and up. So,
As you should. You're quite
Right.
Yeah.
good. So, I would like to do now a practice where we're actually going to go through the movements of gods. But I want you to do the body movement, but make the arm movement almost go away. Just let it be, it could be simply what we just did in the exercise. So that rather than focusing, I mean, this is really partially an exercise on getting your mind away from the hands and arms and into the body. So Stand up again. And think about what the body movement is in movement 1. And let there be some small movement of the hands and arms, but very small, so that you're not focusing on the hands and arms. You want to just focus on getting the chi to rise and fall in your body. Don't try to do the full movement of the arms. Do something much smaller. See if you can get your energy to go up to your diaphragm. And then down through everything, through your body and down to your feet. If it helps you to align your breath with the movement, that's fine, or you don't need to. Because the biggest thing you're after is you now want to have the ability to check if your chi is moving up and down without getting stuck anywhere. And when you get stuck, for now just recognize where it is. Because every place every practice we've been doing, getting this to open and to close and doing this and that with the channels, it's all for one big purpose: to be unstuck, to have what was stuck to not be stuck, so you have a flow. If you have an illness, I can guarantee you that you're going to feel many places in your body where the chi gets stuck. You have to recognize those places before you can do something about them. So this is just a small movement. Don't make it a big thing. You're really trying to feel is your chi moving through your body as you do the movement of the body, and a small movement of the hands. So this is something you can do sitting at your desk, this actually can help you feel much better at the end of the day. So this is something you could do sitting down. Just checking, is your chi getting stuck? If it is, then work on releasing it. Going up and going down. Now go into the second movement, and it's the same thing. When you bend from your forward, you need to take the chi from the height of your diaphragm and send it down your body clearly until you're in your feet. And you would come up clearly. And notice where you're breaking the flow. Keep the movements of the arms very small. When you have no pain in your body, if you can make your energy go through, that pain will get less. And if the place where the chi is blocking in your body gets worse, your pain will normally increase. It's really that simple. One Chinese statement that says, if you have pain, your chi is not flowing or it's blocking. If your chi is flowing and not blocked, you don't get pain or disease, end quote. It's a really simple formula. So you have to get the chi to flow through your body, and you have to get it to come back up again. It's an issue of sensitivity. So endeavor to stop moving your hands much and just do it with very, very little movement. You want to focus on what's happening inside your body. Because when you move your hands, too much, it becomes more difficult to notice that. And the first thing is to get a sense of whether you've got a flow or not. Now go into movement 3. And primarily just do the clock positions. Very little arm movement. So circle your body. But as you notice, as you go down, you bend the spine. Is your chi moving from your diaphragm down to your feet? And when you shoot the arrow, is that chi going up from your feet to your diaphragm? Where is it moving? Where is it getting stuck? So in any form of physical exercise where your body moves, there are two ways you can look at it. One way is just, are you sort of doing the motion? You could be focused on accomplishing the task of doing the motion. But the other way of doing it is you can focus on what this motion is supposed to be doing inside you and what it is actually doing inside you. And clearly the second way is more the Qigong way. You can see physical motion, but you can't see Qi moving inside you, but you can feel it. You can't see blood running around somebody's body, but you can feel it. So this is the big difference between internal movement and external movement. Internal movement is feeling what is happening inside of you, what your body is actually doing. And Qigong is all about what your body is doing and making it better. Remember, you have to bend to the right, you have to bend to the left, to go down, and you have to bend up. Keep the clock going. 12, 9, 6, 3. Whether you make a big circle or a small circle, when you're moving downward, is your Qi going to your feet? Is it rising? Is it getting stuck? Is it open? What does it feel like when it gets stuck? How can you get to where you recognize it with very little effort? And now begin to do movement 4. Just move your hands a little if it helps you. But don't actually move your arms a lot. I want you to feel if the Qi is moving through your body. Remember, we're only going up to the diaphragm. Later on, when we focus on your arms and what's happening higher, we'll do that, but not yet. Right now we're focusing primarily on your torso and legs. Is the chi between your lower and your middle burner integrating or not? Is it opening up or not? This awareness inside your body is very important. You sit at a desk for long periods of time. The object is to damage your body the least. Not damage it more, and then try to do something later. And now go to movement 5. Opening and closing your qua. Notice. Recognize. Where do you block or not block? On the way down or on the way up? There are 8 primary energy flows in Qigong, just as there are in the I Ching. 8 ways that all things happen. And also the way you approach Tai Chi, Qigong, sexual practices, yoga, and any Taoist energy work. This is not just for this movement. If there is forward, there is simultaneously back. And if there is up, there is down. Whether it happens simultaneously or sequentially, one follows the other. If there's left, there's right. Do movement 6. If there's inside, there's outside. There's outside, there's inside. Playing around with the up and down. Is it moving smoothly from the diaphragm to your feet? And up from your feet to your diaphragm. Are you still feeling blockages somewhere? Does it happen more as you go up or as you go down? And whenever you're ready, you can close. And relax and sit down.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
In what way?
I felt the movement, especially in 1, 2, 3, 4. Mostly where I thought it was doing the best was in 3 of all places. And I know we were focusing on up to the diaphragm, but I couldn't help but be aware that there was blockage in my shoulders.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I probably kept a corner of my mind on that and tried to release it. And by the time we got to 4, that seemed to be better. 5, I don't know what happened. Everything just disappeared.
Mm.
I didn't feel like anything was working right. And it began to come back a little bit in 6, but 5 and 6 were the least successful.
It's interesting. I think often we over condense going into 5 and 6.
Mhm.
That
Hmm.
instead of
Hmm.
instead of condensing, we tighten up,
Wow.
and that reduces the chi flow, of course.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's kind of interesting to eventually recognize that condensing is is another relaxed energetic element. It's not a tightening up. It's simply condensing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I realize that I'm not sure I have the words to explain that right at the moment, perhaps clearly.
No, I understand where you're
Yeah.
going, that it's not contraction,
No, it's not
Hmm.
good. That's
Mhm.
a good word to use for that.
Mhm.
I also found that when I almost dispensed completely with hands and arms, everything worked better.
Mhm.
When I was trying to think about making them smaller, that detracted from what else was going
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that an interesting discovery? Good. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you had that because
Yep.
we get so focused on those things waving around in front of our eyes that
Yep.
it distracts from where our attention really needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adam or Joanne?
Yeah, like Bill, I found the same thing with the hands, although a few times I needed to kind of, maybe in 4, just kind of, at least in a small way, do it as kind of a guide
Uh-huh.
and then drop it. But I felt I needed that to kind of maybe kickstart that that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt a really intense energy flow. And I found that, yeah, I mean, the full body movement helped move the energy in a way that first exercise we didn't do. So
Mm.
I felt like I was getting past some of the problems, and whether the actual blockages or yeah, lack of movement. That the squats in particular really kind of, yeah, would really pump it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Hmm. Yeah, I found the posture has really changed one to the other. Some were easy, some were hard.
Yeah.
The first 3 were great, and then 4 was like nothing, and then 5 and 6 built up again. So I'm not sure what it was about 4 that was challenging to connect with the energy both up and down.
Yep.
Definitely could feel blockages as I would go along. Some were able to let go of, and some, reappeared throughout the postures as we went. So good areas to revisit. I think interestingly, in 5 and 6, I felt like the muscles themselves were a little fatigued, but still like a good energy connection,
Yeah.
which I found interesting.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Well, some discoveries.
yeah,
Yeah.
Good. Well, this is another really interesting practice, I think, to
Yeah.
help begin to move our attention inside even more.
Yes.
So I think that's all I have at the moment.
It's a lot. It's probably all we can take at the moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
It might be.
Sure. Sure.
Any other thoughts or questions? I'm not shutting off.
Mhm.
I just good.
No,
You know, I guess,
this is plenty,
in doing a practice like that, if you hit a point where the body feels fatigued, but you still have a good connection to the energy, is that a point where you should keep pushing to do the practice, or should you kind of let go and let the, give the body like a rest and recovery? And
Well, you may need to give the body a rest. What, in a way, what it's pointing out is don't do too much movement in the earlier movements
Uh,
so that you don't run out.
yeah, okay,
And that may be referring to number of repetitions.
right,
Um, it depends on your body and your ability.
right,
That day at that time. I mean, remember it's different. I mean, I have days when I can do 20 repetitions and it feels great, and I have other days when 10 is plenty.
yeah.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's the thing to take away from that is try to be aware as you begin what your ability is that day at that time.
Okay,
Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
thank you.
thank you, David.
Great to see
Have a
you.
good week, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, you too, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice seeing everyone. Nice
Yes.
being
Yeah.
here live, not watching the video.
We do exist.
Yeah, so do I sometimes.
You're not an AI?
Not yet. I'm trying, David. I'm trying.
Okay.
I had a question about the form and connecting to the fascia. Kind of what we were talking about in the beginning. I feel like if I try and connect to the fascia in the beginning of the movement for a posture, it really zings the energy. But I can't stay connected throughout the entire movement of the posture. It seems easier in the transition from one posture to the next to reconnect with the fascia. And it seems to make a nice energetic flow, but then, you lose that facial connection. Is that just, you just got to work through it?
Yeah, because you don't want to lose that connection, actually. I mean, eventually you want it to be continuous.
Right. Okay.
I will say, I think the thing that I found most difficult in working with that at first was making smooth transitions from twisting the yin surfaces to the yang to the yin.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That was And so that's where my breakages came. So maybe, I don't know if that's what's happening to you or not, but that's one way it could be. And I think it's a matter of practice until, like so many of these things, it just begins to happen.
Mm,
Begin to
Mhm.
do it because you've internalized it so strongly.
mm. Okay.
I mean,
Right.
it's you have to get past the point of twist in, twist out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because that immediately sort of tends to create a blockage anyway.
Mm,
Right.
So um, I've been working a lot on this form recently, and I had more than I had been. I've just been really focusing on it, and I found that I think I've moved past that point, and I can't tell you how except just simply by doing it.
mm-hmm.
And being aware. I mean, it's not mindless. You can't go into it in a mindless way. You have to start with the mind before you can get past the mind or into the unconscious mind, actually.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good way to put it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a long time.
Yeah.
It's not it's not quick, or nor does it come early. I mean, I've been working on this form for 21 or 22 years,
Mm,
and I would say in the last year I've made some real breakthroughs for me anyway.
mm.
So
Nice.
courage.
Ha!
Courage.
I like that.
Certainly persistence.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anything for you, Joanne?
No, I mean, I think that also addressed some of my overthinking a bit, particularly in terms of the transitions and you just, I mean, it really is, I think, just a matter of practice, and then whether it's moving from 20 to 10 or just moving back and saying, okay, I need to clear my head and not keep going down this rabbit hole
Right.
and return to it right later when you're kind of,
Yeah,
try
that's
not to do that.
absolutely. It's important to know when to stop and take a
Mm,
break.
mm-hmm.
Right. It's the yin and the yang, right?
Absolutely.
In life.
Absolutely.
In life. Right.
Mm,
So,
I was also thinking of the other thing is that in not using our hands, we've certainly done that exercise in doing the flow and how challenging it has been.
yeah,
To particularly do all those different postures without the hands.
yeah.
But helpful.
That I think that's a really good thing to remind ourselves. Absolutely, Joanne. To once in a while spend some time doing it without the hands,
mm-hmm.
and recognizing the energy flows while you're doing it without the hands.
Right.
If you can let go of trying to remember what comes next.
Well, right. It's more challenging in the flow for obvious reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
God's a little easier that way.
yes, yes.
So, I really look forward to actually seeing the two of you someday.
No, well, one of these days. we
Yeah,
should-
Maybe we'll have to plan trying to have an in-person day just
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
in order to really work through the form and
Hmm.
um, be able to pay some attention to that.
mm,
Little,
I
little,
like that.
little hard to
Yeah.
do on Zoom.
Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah, right. Yeah, so if we can, yeah, give ourselves some notice and some time in advance. I'm gonna be away for one more week or in early August, but otherwise I'm basically around for at least the next few months.
Okay, good. I've-
So I know your schedule, yeah, Adam is,
Up in the air.
yeah. Yeah, right, I get it.
Yeah,
Well, he's got to get this new assistant
Right,
in
yeah,
and working smoothly.
yeah. So, working that out, but then kind of once we get going with that, I should be able to start taking a remote day
Uh-huh.
once every 2 weeks, which will make attending easier, I think, because I could work remote on a Wednesday, and take
ah,
a drive out and then, just drive back and continue working.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of my rough game plan. Hopefully make that work. And then on the other days when I'm not remote, just go into the office a little later because the assistant manager is there. So,
Uh-huh. Well, you let us know then. Sounds like
okay.
um, I'm here, so
there, and the week I'm gone is August 9th, but then I'm back, so,
okay, great,
Right.
good.
Well,
okay, great.
well,
All right,
good seeing you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Have
Next
a great
week, hopefully.
You too.
All right.
Hang
great.
in there, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will.
Okay,
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.